The king of the casuals here. Episode number 303. Well, it was a, what do you say? UFC 302 had its moments. If you are an Islam Makhachev fan, well, then you were happy. It was a good fight, I would say. I felt like Poirier never really could get into his flow state, if you will. And that's probably because Islam moves very differently. And, I think he was always afraid of the takedown, as he should be, because... And I have to give Islam credit as well, because his striking looked, elite. He looked really good. And I don't know whether that is because Poirier couldn't focus just on a stand-up fight, or, in fact, is he just that good? I don't know. Maybe he was looking for the wrestling. One never knows. I felt bad for Dustin Poirier because he's a class act. He has given the sport a lot, after losing to Conor McGregor at 145 in like less than 2 minutes, and then suddenly coming all the way back to be an interim champion, and then beating Conor McGregor once, twice technically, I guess some people say. The injury kind of put an end to it, but McGregor wasn't looking like he was going to win that fight. But now that it's over, and we wonder, will Poirier retire? I hope not. Why should Poirier retire? Other than to save some brain cells and spend some more time with his beautiful family. I have a feeling that Dustin Poirier is what's true of most fighters is doubly true of him. He probably needs to fight, whether he knows it or not yet. He's 35, but he seems young to me still. He's very mature in some ways, of course, because he's lived some life, growing up. But in other ways, I think he's like a little boy, in a good way, not a bad way. He's never lost the spirit of childhood where you want to have fun and fight. For him, that's getting hit and hitting people. I've grown to like him over the years. I didn't love him so much not too long ago, when the way he sort of reacted to McGregor's leg break I didn't like. But then again, McGregor was saying, your wife's in my fucking DMs, mate. Which, the show always is the thing with Conor McGregor. He is a Shakespearean practitioner, if you will. The show must go on, all the world a stage, and the men and women merely players. Having said all that, Kevin Holland, who would have thought that he would have had that quick of a... he's got good jiu-jitsu. Yeah, we're not joking. He may not be able to be the world's greatest wrestler, but he has great jiu-jitsu. And so that was fun to watch. The Paulo Costa, Sean Strickland fight, some people said was boring. I did not think so, because that was a very strategic fight. You had Strickland lifting his knees up and shaking his maracas, so to speak. It's this very weird Philly shell thing that he's got going. But it works, and it's hard for anybody to connect with a guy like Sean Strickland. He's really good at rolling with the punches this way. And plus he has a chin when he does get hit. If you looked at Costa's stomach midsection, it was bleeding, bruised and bleeding. But Costa has those kicks that are just like thunder. And, he kicked Strickland a few times in the calf in the first round. And then Strickland, I believe the turning point was when Strickland checked one, and that was all she wrote. He checked that kick, and I think Costa spent the rest of the night on his bicycle going backwards. The old Muhammad Ali, let's jog 6 miles a day backwards thing. But it was a good fight. And then we had, I think, my nominee for the worst fight, just in terms of form and interest, was and I like both guys. I really like Nico Price. But, that fight, I've never seen such poor form and just overall footwork. It was very sloppy. You don't normally see that at this level, but they were just Nico has this one punch where he throws a cross or a hook, and then he backhands it. Boom. See, I have the bag. I'm in Jack's gym, by the way, today. Hashtag Jackie Mac forever. If you are new to this channel, the reason that we still do this King of the Casuals podcast is the one and the only right over my shoulder there with the boxing gloves. You can see some of the paraphernalia. Jack's wrestling. I might not be able to see it with the lights on. UFC, and then Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz poster. This is all Jack's stuff. We built this gym in COVID. Can I say COVID these days without getting bleeped? I freaking hope so, for God's sakes. Anyway, we built this gym, had a great time together. I went on a shoot, and it was then he got on Snapchat, found a guy named Aaron Miranda. Jack was having an anxiety attack, and reached out to this cholo piece of shit, and who said, yeah, I have Xanax, man. And it was nothing but pure fentanyl, enough to kill 4 grown men, and I lost my son at the ripe old age of 19. Forever 19, Jackie Mac forever. Not a day goes by where my heart isn't aching and wishing that he were here, but it's through this podcast and being able to talk about mixed martial arts. We have some other things we have in common, like music and art. But here, we started this podcast, Jack's influence from Joey Diaz and Joe Rogan. Growing up, he loved those guys, and, I'm neither of them. I'm happy to keep the podcast dream alive to educate people about fentanyl and, of course, to talk about our view, which is usually different. We tend to not get into the personal lives of fighters like other channels. And we tend not to necessarily break them down as like we're Chael Sonnen in DC, but all of us, Nate, Jake, even Josh, we spent enough time in boxing, ring wrestling mats, kickboxing, and octagons. None of us pro, none of us great, but all of us nerds for the sport, and our understanding of it, we believe, is pretty good. But the name casual comes from every time I ever made a comment when Jack was still alive, I say, Jack, why are these guys calling me a casual? And they're like your age. I was a young dad, but still, over 30, and Jack's like that. You can't be like getting in fights with 12-year-olds. I'm like, oh, he's 12? I shouldn't have been such a jerk back to him, but casual. So being called casuals, I thought, well, let's be ironic, and we'll just call ourselves King of the Casuals. Are we really casuals? No, not by definition. Jack and I went to 5 events. I don't think I've ever missed a Saturday night. I'm pretty much hunkered in now more than ever because that's my way of spending time with Jack. Yes, he's not physically there, but he's certainly there in spirit. Right where he always sat on the opposite side of the coffee table on the other couch. And I miss him. Maybe today's podcast is just about that. If you ever have an offer to take a pill from a friend, or even worse, you get on Snapchat or one of those social media channels and somebody's offering it, 8 and 10 of them are filled with fentanyl and will kill you. You have a better chance of drinking gasoline and staying alive, so don't fucking do it. Please don't do it to your parents. Don't do it to your friends. Don't do it to yourself. You've got a life to live, and you don't need that shit. So, having said all that, let's move into UFC 303. Conor McGregor. The king is fucking back. The king is fucking back. The mixed martial arts world got turned upside down, flipped on its head when Conor McGregor showed up, and it's been that way ever since. Is he fighting? Even when he's not fighting, he's still being talked about. A lot of you guys can't stand him. McCarthy is my last name, so you can do the math. I don't know if that's math, but you can figure it out. McCarthy, born in Dublin, Ireland, the family was. I am not a. I'm a writer. I won't say the first word because the guy's entertaining. Who has a better wit? He's the quickest witted guy ever. Even Muhammad Ali's daughter said that her father would have admitted that Conor McGregor may have been a better entertainer. And I don't call Conor McGregor a shit talker. I think Kobe Covington is a shit talker where it's just mean. The only time I ever saw McGregor do that was like with Khabib, where he was serious. And that was really more about Ali Abdelaziz and their whole back and forth. I like Khabib. I'm not a huge fan of some of the other guys on that team, but whatever. You can't like everybody, mate. But I am a big fan of John Kavanaugh. I'm a big fan of Conor McGregor because of what he has done for the sport. Even Dricus Duplessis will tell you that he believes every fighter should thank him because he's raised awareness, fighter pay. He took a niche sport and turned it into a global sport that's surpassed boxing. And boxing was always my first love. Kid Dynamite. Just did a video on Kid Dynamite, and now we're not sure if they're fighting or if it's put off. Hopefully they will fight, because I, every inch of my soul, believe that Mike Tyson was going to knock out Fake Paul. Yeah, you can tell I don't really like Jake Paul, but that's okay. I'm not supposed to. I'm over 30. I never really watch Disney. I don't really follow YouTube influencers. So that's that. But let's talk about Michael Chandler and Conor McGregor. This is going to be the first of many. Just the gist of it. Conor McGregor has always done well. Forget about the injuries and everything else. Just let's pretend that it's 2017. And who does he fight well against? Chad Mendez. Yeah, he took him down a few times, but Conor never seemed even bothered by it. Eddie Alvarez. There's somebody else in there. He does well against the shorter, stockier wrestler type. Because he's long, unless he's fighting a stocky Yoel Romero, then he's not long, but that would never happen. So yeah, I think McGregor should be, this should be a good fight for him. Then again, he could get knocked out, because Chandler does go for it, but McGregor, we'll see if he has the Dominic Cruz version of ring rust, which is, there is no ring rust. I believe he wants it more than ever. I know that people saw him partying. I don't believe that he was. It looked like he was kind of trolling, pulling a Ryan Garcia, who, by the way, I believe is now out of his accusations. He's got out of it because there was Ostarine in both of the supplements he was taking. I don't even know what Ostarine does, but I'm positive that it doesn't help you the night of the fight. Yeah, I think it helps you not get injured or something like that. But anyway, a recovery thing. I'm not quite sure, so don't trust me on that one. Oh, that's an ice maker for my ice bath, which I got to take in a minute. I just wanted to check in and say we're going to be doing a number of shows, Jake and Nate and the fellas, and we're going to be doing a big rah, the king is back for Conor McGregor. Because this could be his last fight, so why not celebrate with a little Sinead O'Connor and the Notorious B.I.G. That walkout song. I don't care what anybody says, that may be the greatest in history. We're going to do a great tribute to none other than Jack McCarthy, because it was in 2015, I believe it was December, when we were home together watching Aldo and McGregor fight, and I thought, Jack, this guy, he's going to just chew up McGregor's legs, and it'll be the end of this Mystic Mac thing. And he knocked him out in fucking 13 seconds, mate. Yeah, unbelievable. And that was the beginning, and that's where we'll pick up from all the way to being the champ, the Diaz fights, which were their own entity of brilliance. And I believe, Conor says good things about him, and why wouldn't he? Nate may be the funniest guy in the world without trying. So anyway, today's podcast is a little all over the place. I just want to do a check-in post 302 and tee up the 303 stuff. And we all think of McGregor as this bigger than life, larger than life character, personality who does as he pleases and is the golden child for Dana White. But truly, he was always the underdog. So yeah. I'm looking forward to 303. We're going to try and get hashtag Jackie Mac forever in the octagon the night of 303 and see if we can't purchase some real estate for the one, the only hashtag Jackie Mac forever. Until then, it's Jackie Mac forever. It's UFC 303. It's Conor McGregor. It's Michael Chandler, and the shit is on. I don't know what's wrong with me.